Buckle up, Canada, because we're diving into the cesspool of Gregor Robertson's political career, a masterclass in deception, self-enrichment, and liberal-enabled chaos. As Vancouver's former mayor, 2008 to 2018, and now the federal minister of housing and infrastructure, Robertson's track record is a grotesque parade of scandals, lies, and corruption, all propped up by the Liberal Party's spineless complicity. From secret multimillion-dollar real estate empires to unfulfilled promises that left Vancouver's streets littered with despair, this is the story of how the Liberals' golden boy sold out Canada's most vulnerable for personal gain. Let's rip the Band-Aid off and expose the rot. In June 2025, Canadians were slapped with the nauseating revelation that Gregor Robertson, the Minister of Housing, allegedly hid a jaw-dropping $10.85 $11 million real estate portfolio while preaching affordability from his Ottawa perch. This isn't a typo. $5.6 million for a lakeside Squamish estate, $2.85 million near Tofino, and a $2.4 million Vancouver penthouse, according to the Breakard News. While Canadians drown in rent hikes and mortgage misery, Robertson's been playing Monopoly with prime properties, all while dodging parliamentary questions like a coward. The Liberals, of course, are complicit. Their ethics laws, riddled with loopholes you could drive a yacht through, let MPs like Robertson stash rental properties without disclosure if policies affect a broad class of owners. Broad class? Try the ultra-rich elite class Robertson's been cozying up to his whole career. Housing advocates like Rahanna Rezel and Margaret Van Newton are screaming conflict of interest, and rightly so. How can a man sitting on millions in real estate credibly tackle affordability? He can't, and the Liberals don't care. They've propped him up as a progressive savior while he laughs all the way to the bank. Shame on Justin Trudeau for appointing this fox to guard the housing henhouse. Flash back to 2008, when Robertson, running as Vision Vancouver's mayoral candidate, swore he'd end street homelessness by 2015. It was a bold, feel-good pledge that won hearts and votes. Fast forward to 2018, and Vancouver's homeless count ballooned from 1,576 to 2,181. That's not progress. That's a slap in the face to every person left shivering on the streets. Robertson's excuse? Whining about provincial and federal inaction while passing the buck faster than a Liberal MP dodging a budget question. The Liberals, who've been in power federally since 2015, share the blame. They funneled peanuts to cities while homelessness exploded, letting Robertson's failure fester. His heat shelters and 600 modular units were band-aids on a gaping wound, and his $66 million in BC funding was a drop in the bucket. Meanwhile, he had the gall to express regret in 2018 for not being more abrasive. Abrasive? Try honest, Gregor. You lied to Vancouverites and the Liberals let you skate. Their inaction on housing and mental health funding turned your promise into a cruel joke. Under Robertson's watch, Vancouver's housing market became a dystopian nightmare. Detached home prices soared from $942,000, inflation-adjusted, in 2008 to $1.8 million by 2018. Renters were crushed, young families fled, and the city became a playground for speculators. Robertson's response? Policies like the short-term incentives for rental, STIR, program and density bonuses that handed developers blank checks while delivering crumbs for affordability. His empty homes tax and laneway homes were too little, too late, and his early dismissal of foreign investments role. Calling it divisive in 2015 reeked of denial or worse, deliberate obfuscation. The Liberals enabled this disaster. Their refusal to crack down on foreign investment or money laundering fueled the Vancouver model, where illicit cash, often from the People's Republic of China, pumped up prices. The 2021 Cullen Commission exposed the cesspool, but Robertson and his Liberal allies deflected blame. Why? Because developers were bankrolling Vision Vancouver's campaigns, and the Liberals love their donor class. Residents like John Helton called it out, but Robertson's liberal pals stayed silent, letting Vancouver become a billionaire's sandbox while ordinary Canadians were priced out. Speaking of developers, Robertson's ties to them are as blatant as a neon sign. Vision Vancouver's campaigns were flush with developer cash, and policies like STIR sparked outrage for favoring high-rises over community needs. Even Bob Rennie, a developer who backed Robertson, later slammed him for alienating stakeholders. This wasn't leadership, it was a pay-to-play scheme, and the Liberals cheered it on. Their municipal election laws at the time allowed this legalized influence peddling, and their federal inaction on real estate regulation kept the gravy train rolling. Where's the accountability? Nowhere, because the Liberals protect their own. Robertson's never faced a probe for this, and his elevation to a federal cabinet post proves the party rewards loyalty over integrity. Canadians deserve better than a housing minister who's been in developers' pockets since his mayoral days. An ex-post called Robertson an architect of BC's fentanyl crisis, and while that's harsh, there's truth in the rage. During his tenure, overdose deaths skyrocketed as Vancouver grappled with the opioid epidemic. Robertson pushed harm reduction, overdose prevention sites, supervised injection facilities, which saved some lives, but didn't stem the tide. Critics argued he enabled addiction by focusing on band-aids instead of treatment or enforcement, and the body count kept climbing. The Liberals, in power federally during the crisis's peak, are equally culpable. Their half-baked drug policies and underfunded mental health services left cities like Vancouver to drown. Robertson's four pillars approach sounded nice, but without federal muscle, it was hot air. The Liberals' obsession with performative progressivism, photo ops at safe injection sites while treatment beds stayed scarce, mirrors Robertson's empty gestures. Together, they let a generation slip through the cracks. The Vancouver model of money laundering illicit funds flooding real estate and casinos is a stain on Canada's reputation, and Robertson's tenure sits at its heart. Ex-posts claim he and BC Liberal Premier Christy Clark welcomed PRC cash, inflating housing prices. While no smoking gun ties Robertson directly, his inaction on foreign investment and cozy developer ties raise red flags. The Cullen Commission exposed systemic failures, but the federal Liberals, who've dragged their feet on anti-money laundering laws, let it thrive. Why no reckoning? Because the Liberals profit politically and economically from this mess. Their donor class, developers, speculators, loves the status quo, and Robertson's their man. His silence on this issue as housing minister is deafening, and Trudeau's refusal to call him out proves the party's complicity. Let's be clear, Gregor Robertson isn't a lone wolf. He's a symptom of the Liberal Party's disease, hypocrisy masked as progress, greed cloaked in virtue. From appointing him housing minister despite his developer ties to ignoring his $11 million secret, the Liberals have shielded him at every turn. Their ethics laws are a joke, their housing policies are a failure, and their campaign finance rules are a developer's wet dream. Justin Trudeau's government has had a decade to fix Canada's housing and homelessness crises, but they've chosen photo ops and platitudes over action. Robertson's career is a Liberal masterpiece: promise the moon, deliver misery, and cash out. His Happy Planet Juice empire and organic farming days were a cute backstory, but they've morphed into a multimillion-dollar real estate hustle. His Greenest City and Global Covenant of Mayors titles are hollow trophies, overshadowed by a city he left unaffordable and broken. And now, as housing minister, he's poised to screw over Canada on a national scale, all with the Liberals' blessing. Gregor Robertson is a walking indictment of the Liberal Party's corruption, incompetence, and betrayal. His $11 million real estate cover-up, broken homelessness pledge, developer cronyism, and complicity in Vancouver's housing and fentanyl crises aren't just failures, they're crimes against Canadians. The Liberals enabled every step, from Vancouver City Hall to Ottawa's cabinet table. They've sold out renters, the homeless, and the middle class to prop up their elite allies. It's time for accountability. Demand an ethics probe into Robertson's properties. Push for real housing reform, not liberal lip service. And vote out the party that's turned Canada into a playground for grifters like Gregor Robertson. Until then, every skyrocketing rent bill, every tent on the street, and every overdose death is on their hands. Burn this rotten system down, Canada. It's the only way to start fresh. Power's sexy, deception's deadly, and politics? Always messy. High stakes, higher lies, and corruption. Power isn't taken, it's bought. Politics has never been so dirty, and baby, we're just getting started. Until the next scandal, XOXO.